what's the first thing you need to understand? Well, the first thing you need to know is bleed. What is bleed? Bleed essentially means, are images in your interior gonna go all the way to the edge or not? So if you have an image right here, this is the page, this is one page of your book, and you have an image that takes up this amount of space, that means there is no bleed. Why is there no bleed? Well, because you have all this white space around it. Now, if your book does have bleed, then that means the image takes up every single little pixel of your page. So if you have bleed, your responsibility is to make your image bigger than your actual page. Why is that so important? Because when your book has bleed, you need to be able to tell the printers that your book has bleed. That way, the printers know where to cut your images and how to cut your book in order for it to be formatted correctly. Because if you have images inside your book that take up the whole page, but you set your document to no bleed, then what Amazon is going to do is going to print out your book, and it's going to have a little thin white square or like a little outline around your image. And it's going to look super, super ugly. Because you have a cookbook, you want it to take the whole page. You don't want a little white outline around. Even if you only have one picture that takes up the whole page, you need to set your whole document to bleed. Now, if nothing is going to go past the page, if everything is going to be within the parameters of your book and you don't have any bleed, you have no images or anything going off the page, then you can set your whole document to no bleed and you're fine. Now, if you are going to set your document to bleed, then I think it's about 0.25 inches that you need to set your bleed to. Because when you're opening up a new document, it's going to ask you, do you want bleed and how much bleed do you want? This basically means if this is your page of the book, what do you want the distance between the page and the maximum bleed to be? So 0.25 inches might be this big, 0.5 inches will be bigger, 1 inch will be bigger, but I think 0.25 is what Amazon recommends. When you place your image on your page, you need to make sure your image is spread out at least 0.25 inches away from the edge of the page. That way the printer knows to cut 0.25 inches to make sure it's cut correctly. We're going to get deeper into this when we do the practical side of formatting. But that's all you need to know when it comes to bleed. If your image is really big and it's going to take the whole page, then make sure you have bleed. If your image isn't going to take the whole page, you don't need bleed. Also, bleed, you have to set up the whole document as bleed. Your document can either be set to bleed or no bleed. Even if you have just one image, you still want to set your document for bleed, even if only one image is bleeding out. So that's bleed.